watching News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
Good afternoon and welcome to Live at 4. We made it to Friday.
It's Friday. We got there, and things, the weather-wise, are going to be getting a little bit better,
Yes.
slowly but surely here.
Looking forward to that, Blaze. How's it looking?
Well, it is not as sunny as it was earlier this afternoon. As expected, clouds began to move on in, and without the sun, it definitely does feel slightly cooler outside. Southerly winds also causing a bit of a wind chill out there, but they're going to be bringing up a little bit of moisture if we take a look at feature track to bring us some light snow and probably leaning more flurries overnight and then throughout your Saturday. We've got a quick clipper moving through the Midwest and essentially just clipping us, living up to its name, bringing us chances for some light snow as we go throughout the start of your weekend. A lot of us probably will not even pick up a half an inch of snow, maybe a dusting to a quarter of an inch at best. Further north, because you're closer to the center of that low pressure system, you're going to have a better chance for more accumulating snow. Maybe a little bit of snow activity wrapping up there in parts of Greene County and parts of Lafayette County, but otherwise it's quiet on radar 3000. Cloudy and breezy at night. You can hear it on my microphone with that light snow activity. We are going to track out more snow chances and wintry mix chances in the full forecast.
Thank you, Blaze. We have an update from the Wisconsin Heights School District after it closed all schools due to a potential safety threat. The Dane County Sheriff's Office says it could not substantiate anything criminal in its investigation into the threat. The Sheriff's Office worked with the state DOJ's Office of School Safety and Wisconsin Heights school officials to speak with students they say were connected to the threat. A statement from Sheriff Calvin Barrett says the systems in place for school safety worked as they should, and someone recognized a potential threat at the school and let authorities know about it.
Among President Trump's series of executive orders signed on his inauguration day was one that takes aim at what his administration calls gender identity.
The order says the government will only recognize men as biologically male and women as biologically female based on their sex at birth. Armand Rahman spoke to community and advocacy groups in Madison on how this affects the communities they support. Armand?
Brady and Susan, Trump calls the executive order defending women from gender ideology, extremism, and restoring biological truth to the federal government. It also says the idea that men can transition to women and vice versa is something all, quote, institutions of society should regard as false, and that federal funds should not be used to promote that. Outreach LGBTQ+ Community Center assists trans people in Madison with name changes or legally changing documents. Among other things, they say there is worry about how that will all work going forward. They're also worried how it affects their drop-in housing funded by federal HUD money. Activists of Trans Advocacy Madison say they're trying to remind the community that truths cannot be rewritten from the White House.
You really see how these types of action are intended to instill fear in a community.
A lot of the work that I do with the community has to do with grounding those fears and saying, let's take a look at what's actually going on.
Executive order also reverses Biden-era policies that allowed people to change their gender on passports and that gave federal inmates access to gender-affirming care. Now, transgender student athletes were a big talking point during Trump's campaign. Trump's executive order aims to reverse the decision that Title IX allows them to compete on teams with the genders they identify as. I asked both groups what effect his language has on youth. Hear more on that tonight at 5.
We will see you at 5, Armand. Thank you. The Wisconsin Department of Financial Institutions will have a new leader next month. Governor Tony Evers announced that DFI Secretary Cheryl Olson Collins will retire on February 3rd. Olson Collins has served in that role since January of 2022. The president of the Wisconsin Women's Business Initiatives Corporation, Wendy Bauman, will replace Olson Collins effective February 17th.
Among the local groups reacting to the second Trump term, Centro Hispano.
The organization advocates for the Latino community in Madison, and they met this week with other advocates as part of a summit hosted by Dane County Congressman Mark Pocan. Political reporter Will Keneally sat down with their executive director, and he joins us now with the latest. Will?
Well, as we've seen throughout the campaign and with President Trump's executive orders this week, immigration will be a major focus of the next 4 years. Centro Hispano this week wanted to highlight the resources that they provide to the Latino community in Madison, things like connecting community members with legal resources. And we spoke with Executive Director Karen Menendez-Collar at the Centro.
There are a lot of services that we do when it comes to immigration, resource navigation, programming that we do in the schools around leadership development. Central to that is their joy and their humanity. So we want them to laugh. We want them to be completely vulnerable with who they are. And once they leave this building, we want them to tell that story and to share in that joy and that humanity.
Now you can see more from our interview with her coming up this Sunday at 10:30 on For the Record.
Hospitalizations for the flu are on the rise in Wisconsin. The state's Department of Health says for the week ending January 11th, more than a fifth of emergency room visits ended up being due to the flu. UW Health's Director of Infection Prevention says we've probably not reached the peak of flu season yet, and there's still time to build immunity by getting your vaccine.
It's still helpful to think about, I might be fine with influenza. I won't end up in the hospital, but I am around people that very much could have a problem with it. And so, doing these things to try to prevent the spread beyond yourself is a huge part of this that really makes that trajectory go back downwards.
You can find a place offering vaccines near you at vaccines.gov. There are also at-home flu tests that you can take if you're feeling sick. You can get them at pharmacies, urgent care, or your doctor's office.
Well, it's Friday afternoon. That means it's almost the weekend in the 608.
Oh, love this time. Josh Sprider has your weekend planner.
I have 3 things for you to do this weekend in the 608. The first one we've been talking about all week, but there is still time to enjoy the Madison foodie scene. Winter Restaurant Week officially ends today, but some restaurants are extending their menus through Saturday. There is still plenty of time to support local. There are 43 restaurants taking part this week. The event is presented by our friends at Madison Magazine as a way to get folks to support their favorite local establishment or perhaps try something new. This is at a time where local restaurants really need your visit during these dark and cold months. You can find more information on all those taking part in a special tab at the top of channel3000.com. On Sunday, you can learn to ice fish on Monona Bay. Join Madison Parks and the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources at Brittingham Park. There are 2 different classes. The first starts at 9, the second starts at 11. There is no cost to attend, but advanced registration is required online. Anglers ages 16 and older will need a Wisconsin fishing license, which can be purchased online at Go Wild. The first-time license buyers will just have a cost of $5 for that annual permit. Then later in the afternoon on Sunday, Schumacher Farm Park and Dane County Parks invite you to Winter on the Farm in Wanakee. This goes from 1 to 3 in the afternoon. Activities include a winter scavenger hunt, animal tracking clues, salt painting, and frozen bubbles. Registration is not required, but donations are always appreciated. For more ideas this weekend in the 608, just go to channel3000.com. In the 608, Josh Sprider, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Josh. See, something for everyone.
That's right. Almost the weekend.
Well, next on Live at 4, the president visits states hit by natural disasters.
What he proposed in regards to providing them with relief. We'll have those details when we come back.
President Trump will tour areas of Los Angeles County devastated by wildfires. Yesterday, new fires broke out near San Diego, fueled by wind gusts up to 97 miles per hour. Firefighters waged war from above the raging Hughes fire, which has burned more than 10,000 acres. President Trump has repeatedly blamed California Governor Gavin Newsom for the disaster and is now threatening to withhold aid.
And as those fires continue to devastate the community, President Donald Trump says he's considering ending the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA.
The president made that statement while visiting North Carolina, where people are still recovering from Hurricane Helene, and as his vice president participated in an anti-abortion march in Washington. Erica Brown reports from the Capitol.
President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump visited North Carolina Friday to see firsthand the damage left behind by Hurricane Helene 4 months ago.
We've come to North Carolina with a simple message for all the people of this region who are hit so hard by Hurricane Helene, and that message is very simple. You are not forgotten any longer.
It was the president's first stop on a disaster tour that will take him to Los Angeles later today to survey the still burning catastrophic wildfires that killed more than 24 and left thousands without their homes. During his North Carolina stop, the president said he will sign an executive order to reform, overhaul, or dismantle FEMA, the federal agency responsible for responding to disasters.
I think, frankly, FEMA is not good. I think when you have a problem like this, you want to use your state to fix it and not waste time calling FEMA. They want to bring people that aren't as good as the people you already have. And FEMA's turned out to be a disaster.
The president's visit coincides with the annual anti-abortion rights rally here in Washington. Vice President J.D. Vance spoke at the event in his first public appearance since being sworn in.
America is fundamentally a pro-baby, a pro-life, and a pro-family country.
Despite the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade in 2022, organizers say there's still more work to do to reduce the number of abortions in the U.S. each year. Erica Brown, CBS News, Washington.
And the Department of Justice has just issued an order to curtail prosecuting people accused of blocking reproductive rights facilities. It comes a day after President Trump pardoned several anti-abortion activists convicted of blockading reproductive health clinics in 2020.
And Blaze is back inside with a look at our first warn forecast. How's it going, Blaze?
Well, it's much warmer inside, but we are going to continue to warm on up here as we go over the next couple of days. And that little bit of warmth out of those single digits into the 20s, 30s, and maybe even a few low 40s is going to bring back enough moisture to get a little bit more activity here across parts of southern and central Wisconsin. Some light snow tonight into your Saturday. We touched on that at the top of the hour. More sunshine to end the weekend and slightly cooler. But as I mentioned, we're going to be warming up into next week, and that brings back actually the chance for more snow, wintry mix chances as well. We've got a quick clipper system scooting through northern parts of the Midwest. We'll see kind of 2 rounds of snow chances on your Saturday in the morning and then along the cold front as that begins to exit and move eastward into the afternoon hours going into Sunday. Following that low pressure system, our next high pressure system moves on in, and this is going to clear out our sky conditions as we go to end your weekend. And it's going to sandwich us between yet another system to our north. That one's going to stay in Canada, but we're essentially going to be having a very strong high pressure system and a low pressure system fighting over who's going to control the weather over here in parts of Wisconsin. So it is going to be breezy as we go into your Monday and Monday night of next week. Again, we'll take a look at that snow chance overnight into your Saturday. We'll see maybe some light flurry activity into the morning hours, but then along that exiting cold front is going to be a better chance for a line of light, maybe an isolated moderate burst of snow as we go into your Saturday afternoon. In terms of snow totals, not super impressive, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on who you ask. At best, a half an inch. At most, probably a quarter of an inch. I would say at best for some isolated spots there, but further north, you're going to have a better chance for snow. There's just not a lot of moisture with this system, and it's not taking the optimal path that we'd really want it to even get up to an inch of snow. But there is some good news in our long-range models. We are looking at an increased chance of precipitation over the next 6 to 10 days. We're kind of teetering right on that edge. And then as we look into the start of February, we're within that green, a 30 to 40% chance of seeing wetter than normal conditions as we go into the start of February, which is going to be some good news because we really have been lacking in terms of not only rain, but snow here across central and southern Wisconsin for the month of January. Over the next 10 days, depending on if you want or don't want snow, you either want to go with the European model's outlook, which does bring us a decent amount of snow towards the end of our forecast. But if you don't want snow, you want the GFS. That really struggles to bring in some of that snow, probably leaning more warm than the European model. But these long-range models also do want to bring in a system towards the end of our extended forecast. And you'll see that here in just a moment. That is going to bring us a better chance for some wintry mix. But we're hanging out in the 30s tomorrow. There is a look at that 7 and your 10-day forecast. No single-digit highs or lows, and we could even squeeze out a few low 40s there Monday and Tuesday before we settle back into those low to mid-30s Wednesday into that upcoming weekend.
Thank you, Blaze. Some breaking news nationally. The United States Supreme Court will hear a case on whether religious charter schools can receive public funding.
It stems from an Oklahoma Supreme Court decision decision invalidating a state board's approval of an application by the Catholic Church to open a charter school. The case is likely to come before the court between late April and early summer.
Coming up next on Live at 4, a local event all about love.
How it aims to help younger members of the LGBTQ+ community and how you can be a part of it. Welcome back. Well, here is a sobering statistic. 39% of LGBTQ young people seriously considered attempting suicide in the past year. That's according to the Trevor Project's U.S. National Survey on the mental health of younger members of the LGBTQ+ community.
A local event by the Unity Point Health Meritor Foundation and UW Health called Love is Love is aiming to raise money and awareness to help them find affirming resources for mental wellness and healing. 2 individuals involved with it are telling us about this year's effort and how you can help. Well, John and Lindsay, thanks for being on with me today.
Thank you for having us.
We are looking forward to a really big event here in the community called Love is Love, and it brings out a lot of people. A lot of people look forward to it, and I know it's a lot of fun, but it's also for a very important cause, and it comes from a very personal place from you, John. How did you create this event, and what do you hope to do with it?
I was asked by Tina Noel, who was the chair for the Unity Point Health Meritor Foundation expansion of child and adolescent and psychiatry. And she asked me to host an event for the LGBTQ+ community, and I was initially kind of tepid about it, but then I had lost my partner a few months before, and I thought this was really a great way to remember him.
Yeah, and this does good in the community, particularly for LGBTQ+ youth. Why is that something that you think is important?
Well, many adolescents are struggling with their identity and the suicide rates and the pressures on this population, especially LGBTQ+ youth, is very elevated.
Yeah, and any little bit that can help, I mean, just give people the resources that they need, mental health resources, or just even someone to talk to, that is crucial. And do you find that, Lindsay, this event helps kind of bridge that gap and gives dollars and attention to it?
Yeah, kids are going through so much right now. And at our Child and Adolescent Psychiatry Hospital, we see over 1,000 patients a year, kids ages 6 to 18. And at any given point, about half of them identify in the LGBTQ+ community, and they are seeking that love and support, and there's so much that this event is able to help with, to raise funds, to support that programming that is really giving kids the coping skills and the resources they need to thrive.
And planning is underway. We're getting close to the event. What can people expect from it? I know that it is for an important cause, but it is a fun night for people.
It is. Yes, we are there to spread love and support LGBTQ+ youth mental health, but it is a party as well. So DJ Covergirl is going to join us. They're the first thing that you're going to see when you enter the room, and you're going to start dancing right away. We have Catch Gray coming in. He's a professional singer. He'll be doing upbeat music, pop hits, oldies, all your favorite songs. And then, of course, the most meaningful part of the program is the program where Dr. Katie Schmidt, medical director at Unity Point Health Meritor at Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, she'll speak, as well as a former patient speaker, which is, I think, probably one of the most inspiring parts of the night. And then the party keeps going. You'd think that would be enough, but the party keeps going after that with a fantastic drag performance, and then VO5.
So it's a late night.
It is.
It's 5 packed hours.
It is, 7 p.m. to midnight, but people are going to be on that dance floor throughout the whole night. There's savory snacks, decadent desserts. There's a welcome signature drink that we'll greet everyone with, and then there's a lot of other activities to do. So while it's a packed night of 5 hours, it goes by so fast.
Yeah, and in addition to helping LGBTQ+ youth and getting them those crucial mental resources, I think about this, and we've talked before, John, about this story, I think a couple of years ago, but it seems like it is a good meeting place for people from all walks of life in the community who maybe they want to find a sense of community, and it seems like they find it at this event. How proud are you of that?
I'm very proud because after Garrett passed away, this was a way for me to draw my business partners in the community and my friends together just to create something really beautiful.
Yeah. And before we wrap up and we'll tell people where to find tickets and how to go to this event, do you hope that, someday, if one of these benefactors of this event came up to either one of you and they're like, wow, you really helped make me feel seen and heard and helped save my life, what would that mean to you?
Oh gosh.
Hitting you with the big question.
I'd say that to me would be the most meaningful outcome if you know somebody that this has actually touched their life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. This event and the people who are there supporting it are saving lives.
Yeah. Well, and I have to acknowledge, John, I'm always sorry about your partner, and I know that this comes from a place of trauma, but to create something of hope for people, that's big, and I hope you feel proud of that.
I'm very proud of this event.
And Love is Love benefits Meritor's Child and Adolescent Psychiatry Department.
It's on February 15th, 7 p.m. at the Overture Center. Tickets are still available, and you can find them by visiting overture.org. Great job, Brady. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4.
That looks like a Wisconsin winter, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
I don't see any ice fishers out there.
No, and the ice is a little tricky right about now, but the temperatures are getting warmer, feeling like normal in quotations.
Normal.
What is normal, Blaze?
Well, we're rounding out actually the coldest point of the year. So now we're going to start to have our temperatures and overnight lows start to get warmer and warmer. But I believe we should normally top out in those mid to upper 20s, overnight lows in those low teens. So yeah, a little bit normal as of this afternoon, maybe slightly cooler than normal. But as we look ahead to the next 10 days, we are certainly going to be in those 30s. So that is going to feel much more comfortable for folks across central and southern Wisconsin. And talking about the ice there, with the warm up, just always use caution when venturing out on the ice, especially as we start to warm up. Maybe some of that top layer of ice may start to thin. Over the next couple of hours, we are going to watch as snow chances increase, and that's going to continue into your Saturday as the Clipper system moves on through. At best, maybe a quarter of an inch of snow for folks across central and southern Wisconsin. It's not a super impressive Clipper system by any means, and we're likely only going to pick up a dusting to a couple tenths of an inch of snow. Winds have turned out of the south, so we're starting to warm up compared to where we were this same time yesterday, and the warm up is only going to continue, as I said, over the next 10 days. Southerly winds have bumped our temperatures up along the Mississippi River into those 20s. Everybody else seems to be right around 16, 17 degrees. We'll hang out in the teens to low 20s tonight. As I mentioned, 30s and 40s in the forecast. We'll track it all out in just a few minutes.
All right, Blaze, thank you. Well, throughout his campaign, President Trump promised that he would pardon those who took part in the January 6, 2021 riots.
He fulfilled that promise in his first day in office. Our Ellie La Liberté sat down with one of the 11 from right here in Wisconsin that were pardoned. Ellie?
Michael Fitzgerald took a bus from Wisconsin to Washington, D.C. 4 years ago to be at the Capitol on January 6th. For his actions that day, he faced charges of obstruction of law enforcement during civil disorder, entering and remaining in a restricted building without lawful authority, and violent entry and disorderly conduct on Capitol ground. Now, all of those have been dropped. Fitzgerald was in the front of the crowd as they entered the Capitol. That landed him as number 32 on the FBI's most wanted list. He says he was pushed to the front and turned himself into authorities. And now he's relieved. When he was running for re-election, was part of your vote, I could get pardoned?
I mean, I would be lying if I didn't have that in the back of my mind, but that's not the main reason I voted for him.
Do you regret being there that day?
I regret not just leaving after Trump had made his address to the nation. Like I said, I had no idea this was going to happen.
Fitzgerald also wore a t-shirt that said "Wild Protest January 6, 2021, something he says he bought in D.C., but says he knows it doesn't help his case. I also asked Fitzgerald if he thought the charges he were facing were fair. You can hear what he has to say tonight at 10.
Ellie, thank you. To Wall Street now, U.S. stocks edged back from their all-time high today to close out the week. The Dow lost 141 points, the Nasdaq 99, and the S&P 500 is down 17.
The American Red Cross and UW-Madison are teaming up for their annual effort to get blood donations. Bucky's Blood Drive will be from January 29th through the 30th and runs from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's at the Nicholas Recreation Center on Dayton Street. The Red Cross is asking for both blood and platelet donations. Type O negative donors are especially encouraged. January is National Blood Donor Month, meant to get more donations after a typical decrease during the holidays. But that's not the only reason the Red Cross says now is the perfect time to donate blood.
We've had some severe weather that's impacted the country. And, certainly when we're not able to collect those units of blood, we're concerned about that. So we try to, make sure that folks, if they're able to donate at another time, to do so.
Anyone who donates blood will get a $15 gift card to a merchant of their choice. Appointments are encouraged, but not necessary. You can sign up by going to redcrossblood.org and using the sponsor code Bucky to sign up.
Well, students are getting ready for one of the best seasons, Girl Scout cookie season. Volunteers, staff, and the troops organized for months to pull off this annual cookie sell.
Students are getting ready to sell their Girl Scout cookies. Volunteers, staff, and the troops organize for months, as Brady was saying. It takes a lot of work to pull off a cookie sell.
Girl Scout cookie season is weeks away. Millions of sweet treats will be sold in southern Wisconsin alone.
About 90,000 cases of cookies coming into the council for this season. That is over 1 million boxes just for our council alone. That's just this kind of southern part of Wisconsin.
When you see this box, you might think of just Girl Scout cookies, but the troops say these Thin Mints have power.
Because this really is about supporting the girl that's in front of you, and she has just really put herself out there. She's learned business skills, entrepreneurial skills, leadership, finding her voice, and really stepping into what it means to be a person in leadership.
Girl Scouts start preparing months before the cookies were even shipped out.
We start getting everyone amped up really in December. That's when we did a big event to announce the cookie rewards for this year.
Whether you see the troops knocking on doors or outside in your neighborhood at a stand, they're using skills that are useful now and in the future when they enter the workforce.
I was a Girl Scout, and I do really believe that Girl Scouts was a stepping point for me.
Reporting in Madison, Tanasia Shaw, News 3 Now.
Well, thanks, Tanasia. Organizers say the cookie season will start February 22nd. Any favorite cookies for you?
Oh, I'm a Thin Mint girl.
Okay,
and I like the frozen ones.
Yeah. Ooh, the peanut butter ones are where I like. All right, we'll be right back. Well, if you're looking for something to watch this weekend, there are several new shows now streaming.
Film critic Will Loper has some of the options.
Everyone tells me you're brilliant. You're looking for sequences in prime numbers.
What if numbers didn't behave the way we assumed? What if we're not in control?
Watch a mathematician get caught up in a conspiracy in Prime Target. Newly streaming on Apple TV+.
Who are you?
People are paying attention to you. Your work is the cornerstone to all digital security. Bank accounts, defense systems, government records. Do you know how valuable, how dangerous you become?
We're going to my island for a few days. Do you guys want to come?
For those looking for something more intense, the 2024 horror film Blink Twice is newly streaming on Amazon Prime Video.
I'm having a great time here. But I also have this feeling that I'm not.
Two friends accompany a wealthy group of people to an island, but something seems off.
Where's Jess? Who's Jess?
Okay, let's see if we can get through one of these skits.
Sketches. Davey, please.
Okay, you ready, camera one? Oh!
And this Saturday night, be sure to stream the 2024 movie Saturday Night, new on Netflix.
Okay, but what kind of show is it, Lauren? Do you even know what the show is? Did anyone ask Edison what a light bulb was before he harnessed electricity?
Who are you in the metaphor?
The film is a dramatized but highly entertaining depiction of everything that goes wrong leading up to the very first broadcast of Saturday Night Live.
And now, weekend update.
Good evening. Gentlemen, how long have you been standing there?
Long enough.
For Live at 4, I'm Will Loper.
Oh, they all look good.
Yeah.
3 good choices.
I want to see that Saturday night
I do too.
movie.
That looks terrific.
And coming up on Live at 4, what California's fires mean for the tourism industry.
Wendy Gillette speaks with the governor of another state hit by disaster to find out.
On the next Live at 4, Will Loper reviews flight risk.
And it's the first day of News 3 Now's Community Baby Shower. We'll tell you what babies and beyond need from you and where you can donate.
The immediate threat of the LA wildfires has subsided, but the rebuilding will take years.
As a tourist, it can be very difficult to know when to return to an area recovering from a disaster and how to handle a visit there. We talked to Wendy Gillette earlier this week about what you should know.
Brady and Susan, I asked Los Angeles Tourism for an interview about this, and they declined, saying their immediate goal is to provide help to those who need it. Other tourism organizations did offer insight into traveling again after the wildfires. Los Angeles remains in emergency mode, with fires still burning and some residents just now seeing the devastation of their neighborhoods for the first time. But the majority of Los Angeles County was untouched, including the city of West Hollywood, where hotels, including the Pendry and Sunset Marquis, are offering special rates to displaced residents.
Los Angeles is still open. Our airports are fully functioning. There's still public transport going on. Obviously, there's been a lot of people across the country who have understandably postponed or canceled their trips right now.
It's never easy to decide when to reschedule. After the Maui wildfires almost a year and a half ago, Hawaii Governor Josh Green made an early call for tourists to return.
How soon after the fires did you ask people to come back?
For me, it was 1 month to the day after the fires.
At the time, it was a controversial decision.
It was controversial, but it was also very deliberate, because we learned the lesson in COVID that if you're not deliberate about what you can offer, then people stay confused and they don't know whether to travel back. They don't know if they're welcome.
The University of Hawaii estimates Maui was losing $13 million a day in spending before tourists returned. The state offered advice to visitors that's helpful after any wildfire. Stay away from affected areas, don't take pictures near burn zones, and be sensitive to what residents are experiencing.
If you're interacting with people in the tourism industry, be patient. Understand that there is a lot of angst that's happening right now.
It took a year for tourism to recover in Sonoma County, California, after the 2017 wildfires.
It's a scenario that we're all too familiar with, and we definitely know that the road to recovery is going to be a long one.
But those in the industry say tourism dollars are imperative to fund and speed up the process of recovery. The state of Hawaii is working on a program called Aloha for LA, which will allow first responders to visit at discounted rates. Brady and Susan?
So how could the situation in Los Angeles trickle down to Hawaii and other areas then?
Well, obviously the rebuilding efforts will limit travel for those affected for a while. 40% of tourists visiting Hawaii come from California, so the state is very important to tourism there, as well as many other neighboring states. Brady and Susan?
Wendy, thank you very much.
Sure.
And let's go get a look at our first warn forecast with meteorologist Blaze Keller. Blaze?
We are saying goodbye to, at least for the next 10 days, those single-digit highs and very cold overnight lows. We're going to watch as the ridge of the jet stream moves overhead, so we'll take a look at that in just a moment. And with that added warmth comes actually isolated chances for some light wintry mixed showers or snow showers, because we just have a little bit more moisture to play with here across parts of central and southern Wisconsin. Madison. The first chance for snow is going to arrive later tonight. A quick moving clipper system is going to bring us some light snow overnight and then maybe twice into your Saturday. Into the morning, we get an afternoon break, and then into the mid to late afternoon along the cold front, we once again could see a line of light snow shower activity. Don't anticipate much in the way of accumulation, a dusting to maybe a couple tenths of an inch out of this system. Then a high pressure system moves on in. As that begins to exit, though, winds turn out of the south, and that's really going to bump up our temperatures as we go into your Monday. In fact, take a look at all of our forecast highs compared to normal. All of them are either above average or at average. There on Sunday, we only find one that's below average. That would be that following Monday. So we are anticipating a nice little warm up here after sitting underneath some very cold temperatures, to say the least, to start off this week. We find a 30, 40, 50, 60% chance of warmer than average temperatures. So that confidence level, the darker red, is growing across parts of northwestern Wisconsin and Minnesota. And the reason for this is because the jet stream is changing. We're watching that ridge that was previously bringing warmer air to parts of Alaska now moving eastward into parts of Canada, and then that cooler air is falling across parts of the northeast. So we're underneath the ridge where we find that warmer air, and the confidence of cooler than normal temperatures growing across parts of Alaska. So we look to the west a lot, obviously, because that's where our weather comes from, but we also look to the west to see what's going on in terms of temperatures and how that will impact us as well. So this is just showing why we're going to be warming up and where that cooler air is going to be going. But watch as those greens come out of Canada and parts of Alaska over us, and then as we look ahead to maybe that following weekend, we'll ignore this maybe blast of cooler air, but that is long into the future. That's really when our models like to run with their imaginations. But in the more short term, we definitely are eyeing warmer than normal temperatures. We're back into those 20s, those 30s, and maybe even the chance for 40s there Monday and Tuesday as that next clipper system moves on through and pulls a lot of that heat back northwards. There was a look at your forecast for your Saturday. Some isolated light snow chances as we sit into those low to mid 30s. There's a look at your 7 and 10 day forecast. Upper 30s to low 40s Monday and Tuesday. A little bit cooler Wednesday and Thursday, but we're still hanging out above average Friday, Saturday, and then even further into that following Sunday and Monday.
Well, Camp Randall has a problem. Well, it's not what you think, though.
No, country music sensation Morgan Wallen will bring his I'm the Problem tour to Madison on June 28th. The tour comes on the heels of Wallen's 4th studio album, I'm the Problem, that we mentioned. His last one, One Thing at a Time, topped the Billboard 200 for 19 weeks and produced 7 #1 country singles. He'll be joined by special guests Miranda Lambert and Ella Langley. The pre-sale for the concert begins on January 30th. General sales will begin January 31st. You can find out how to get tickets by visiting this story on our website, channel3000.com. They are going to go fast, don't you think?
Yeah.
Multi-Grammy winner singer SZA has made the cut for this year's Super Bowl halftime show. She'll join headliner Kendrick Lamar on the main stage on February 9th.
Lamar and Apple Music released a trailer of him walking on a football field before SZA walked up from behind and playfully splashed the rapper. Lamar and SZA will lead the halftime festivities from the Caesar Superdome in New Orleans.
Are you a Morgan Wallen fan?
I have not listened to him. I guess I'll have to. Yeah. You?
I'm not really either, but I feel like everyone I know is just losing their mind about this story. How about you?
Yeah, no, I won't be going to that show. The halftime show sounds interesting.
For the Super Bowl, it does. Yeah.
I'm still recovering from last year when my personal friend Reba McEntire sang the national anthem at the Super Bowl. You know, Blaze.
And the weather, not related to Reba. We are going to be cloudy with some light snow showers tonight, and that light snow chance continues into your Saturday.
Everything's about Reba, Blaze.
We'll be right back.
On the next Live at 4, Will Loper reviews flight risk. And later on News 3 Now at 6, why the FDA is recalling a popular face moisturizer. Well, thanks for watching Live at 4 today. We hope to see you back here on Monday. News 3 Now at 5 starts right now.